You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
I'm back. Rudriance for Black and White Sports. Well, we're going to talk about, if he's not the greatest NBA coach, he's certainly one of two, the other one being Red Auerbach. Phil Jackson. It seems that Phil Jackson, for one of the very reasons this channel exploded the way that it did in September of 2020, in October of 2020, I believe we got something in the neighborhood of around 55 or 60,000 subscribers. And it was in very large part because of the stance the National Basketball Association took to social justice. We all remember they went into the bubble, put Black Lives Matter, a Marxist organization, on the court, started doing all the kneeling. They were putting logos and things that say justice on the back of jerseys. And half of America turned the TV off on the NBA. And it seems, again, actually, I think it's arguable anyway, Phil Jackson may be the greatest coach of all time. 11 NBA championships as a head coach. MJ, Scottie, Shaq, Kobe, Paul Gasol. I mean, he's coached some of the greatest players ever. And now he is coming out and he's making a very strong statement looking right at you, LeBron James, Adam Silver, and all the damage you've done to the league. And he just comes right out and says it. Half of America cut you off. The NBA got too political. And he doesn't even watch. Think about that, guys. And he says, I quit watching at the very time you all quit watching, and for the same reasons. And I will just come out and say it. Bravo, Phil Jackson. It's a strong statement from what has been one of the most powerful forces in the NBA for about 35 or 40 years. Let's get to this. This is Outkick. Phil Jackson dedicated most of his life to basketball, but now the legendary NBA coach says he doesn't have much interest in the sport, at a pro level at least. Appearing as a guest on, I'm not even going to try to say that, but the real takeaway is Rick Rubin has a podcast. I'm going to have to check that out. Jackson said he hasn't been a fan since the Orlando bubble in 2020. Exactly the time Bubba Wallace, Jacob Blake, everybody remember that? The NBA boycotted a game. Well, actually, it was a fake boycott because they still ended up making up the game on behalf of Jacob Blake for social justice. Yeah. Quote, I am not enjoying the game. That's too bad. There's a whole generation that doesn't like the game, Jackson said. No, I don't watch basketball. I watched the game evolve, and then they went into the lockout year and then did something that was kind of wanky. They did a bubble down in Orlando. It was during the bubble, Jackson said, that the NBA became too political. Quote, all of the teams that could qualify went down there, stayed down there, no audience, and they had things on their back like, quote, justice. And a funny thing happened. Just like justice went to the basket, and equal opportunity knocked him down. Wow. Some of my grandkids thought it was pretty funny to play up those names. I couldn't watch. In the summer of 2020, racial tensions were at an all-time high after the killing of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and Ahmaud Arbery. NBA players like Russell Westbrook, Damian Lillard, Jason Tatum, and many others used their platform to speak out. In addition to social justice buzzwords being printed on players' backs, slogans like Black Lives Matter was painted on the court itself. Quote, It was trying to cater to an audience or trying to bring a certain audience to the game, and they didn't even know it was turning other people off, Jackson said. People want to see sports as non-political. Politics, stay out of the game. It doesn't need to be there. Wow. One of Jackson's former teams, the Lakers, won the 2020 Bubble Championship. A championship, by the way, that Charles Barkley said was complete bullshit. Yeah. No fans, no road games, no hostile crowds. Not to mention, they took that delay and it allowed all the teams that were banged up to get healthy going into the bubble. It's still going to be the most fraudulent NBA championship of all time. Jackson retired from coaching in 2016 after winning 11 championships, 5 with the Lakers and 2 three-peats with the Chicago Bulls. He won 2 championships as a player in the early 1970s. By forcing politics into the game, Jackson says the NBA turns its core fans away. They lost their core base. Right here. Commissioner Adam Silver addressed the onslaught of social justice messaging at the conclusion of 2020 and said the teams would return to normalcy. While the league remains committed to racial equality, he said he understands that some people just want to watch basketball. Too little, too late. I would say in terms of the messages you see on the court in our jerseys, this was an extraordinary moment in time when we began these discussions with the players and what we all lived through this summer. My sense is there'll be somewhat of a return to normalcy, that those messages will be largely left off the floor. They go on, Outkick that is, to say it actually worked because the NBA ratings went up in the first round. Okay, Outkick. They went up in the first round, but then they plummeted for the rest of the playoffs again. I'm just going to call it out when I see it. It is what it is. A YouGov and Yahoo News poll found that nearly half of the country changed its sports viewing habits once political and social messaging began to spread across the NBA. The data says 3 times as many Americans watch the sports less often than who watch them more often. The 2023 NBA All-Star ratings were awful. Earlier this month, Outkick reported the NBA is facing, quote, very difficult economic reality. Now, what I was talking about with the finals ratings, we've got to remember it wasn't that long ago the NBA was drawing nearly 20 million during the finals. I think they had one game last year that hit like 8 million views. Think about that. That's half the audience. More than half the audience. Gone. Vanished. See ya. Out. Earlier this month, Outkick reported the NBA is facing very difficult economic reality. The league must cut spending and limit hiring in order to stay on track in 2023. Why don't you quit subsidizing the WNBA and get some money back? Phil Jackson took some backlash from fans who called him racist. God almighty. The guy that helped give generational wealth to how many black men in that sport got branded a racist over this statement. Because LeBron James and the NBA really cared about social justice, they'd speak up against humanitarian crisis in China. But that sort of activism wouldn't be very profitable. So it's not that Phil Jackson is wrong. It's that they don't want to admit he might be right. So, there you have it. Arguably the greatest NBA coach of all time just said he's boycotted the NBA. He no longer watches. And it's directly because the NBA wrapped their arms around becoming too political and social justice. Wow. That's Michael's coach. That's Scottie's coach. That's Shaq's coach. Kobe's coach, rest in peace, Paul Gasol's coach. He's done. And he hasn't been back since, like all of us that are subscribed to this channel. And me and John that actually do the videos. But you get the point. Tell me what you think. A powerful, powerful reveal from Phil Jackson. Hey, I got an idea. Greg Popovich. Be more like Phil Jackson. Boy, he's turned out to be a total disappointment. Greg Popovich, that is. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.